marks the third 24-hour cycle in Math Week, and as usual, Jamaica Magazine has you covered. Have you ever thought about the power of the error in the math classroom? Is that even a thing? We're going to find out together today. I'm Sandra Clark. Stay with us. The news, that math question, and more are coming up right after this message.
The National ID system will register your picture and fingerprint. It will not need an iris scan unless you don't have a fingerprint, and will only take a footprint if you can't give an iris scan or a fingerprint. This will help people with disabilities to get a national ID. NIDS is about inclusion, not exclusion, protecting the rights of all Jamaicans. Get the facts at nidsfacts.com.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, April 18. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has called on the United Kingdom to ensure that pre-1973 Commonwealth Caribbean migrants currently detained as illegal immigrants are released. He says the UK government should also provide the necessary assistance to have their cases urgently reviewed and their rights restored. Prime Minister Holness expressed those thoughts during a private meeting with Caribbean leaders and British Prime Minister Theresa May on Tuesday. Between 1948 and 1973, thousands of Caribbean migrants were invited to rebuild Britain post-World War II. Those migrants and their dependents were granted indefinite leave to remain in Britain, but changes in immigration laws have forced them to prove their legal status, which has been troublesome for most. British Prime Minister Theresa May has apologized for the situation and pledged that there will be no removals or detention as part of any assistance to help the citizens get their proper documentation in place. These talks are unfolding during Prime Minister Andrew Holness's week-long working visit in England. On Tuesday, he met with Prince Charles of Wales and discussed the environment, the blue economy, infrastructure, the use of plastics, waste to energy, and youth and community development. Mr. Holness also engaged in bilateral talks with the Prime Minister of Mauritius, which focused on fueling economic growth through public sector transformation, tourism, cultural exchange, and trade. Back on the island, the state's drive to increase access to speedy justice has been bolstered by a contract to expand the Court of Appeal building in Kingston. The Justice Ministry signed the $846 million contract with YP Seaton and Associates on Tuesday. The 4-month project is scheduled for completion in August, and the court should be fully operational by September. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the expansion is integral to the state's reform agenda, revealing that more judges will be hired for the new courtrooms.
My hope is that in this fiscal year, not only will you have the 12 judges, which means that you can have all 3 courts available to have 3 panels, but I want to announce that later in the year, the constitutional changes will be made so that retired judges who are available and can serve may well be invited to sit on some of these panels.
A contract was signed on Tuesday to draft 7 technical papers to go towards the development of the island's National Spatial Plan. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Audrey Sewell, says the plan is much needed.
The National Spatial Plan will ensure the optimal use of the nation's land and marine resources and outline the framework for their effective use and management. The plan will therefore provide the strategic spatial framework to guide national development and investment decision-making.
The Ministry of Education says it will continue to lend trauma support to the Godfrey Stewart High School following the killing of a student on the weekend. The ministry sent a trauma team to the Westmoreland-based institution on Monday to conduct grief counseling sessions with staff and students dealing with the death of 18-year-old Stephen Beckford. The teen was killed by a group of men who shot him and a female relative in their home at about 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. Stephen was pronounced dead at hospital while the relative has been admitted. The teaching staff and Stephen's school colleagues have spoken highly of the teen who was preparing for his CXC exams. Education Minister Senator Royal Reid has offered condolences for what he says is a most tragic incident.
Everyone had something good to say about him and knew he had so much potential. I want to send my condolences, therefore, to his family and friends, and I urge the nation again to look out for our precious children.
And finally, the Ministry of Health says its Jamaica Moves campaign is significantly influencing healthy lifestyle practices among citizens. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the campaign has generated a greater awareness of the importance of a balanced diet, exercise, and knowing your health status. He is encouraging more Jamaicans to join the Jamaica Moves initiative.
Go get your checkup at least once a year and don't wait until you're sick to go to the doctor.
Minister Tufton was addressing a function to mark Jamaica Moves' one-year anniversary. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Like when me say, when she had do division and she said for bring down, she said for multiply, but it's a little bit hard.
Yes, mathematics is a challenging subject for many of our students. And as the Ministry of Education ramps up its math improvement strategy, parents, you're being called on to join a campaign to train you in math so you can assist your children. To find out more about this pilot program, contact the National Parenting Support Commission at 967-7977 or email nationalparentingsupport@moey.gov.jm.
Entrepreneurship is always an excellent route to empowerment. Start small, they say. But even at this level, there are challenges that will have you questioning your decision. But don't give in to the difficulties just yet. The Tourism Enhancement Fund has designed a program that is aimed at helping small businesses like yours.
Lack of funding. That's usually one of the main issues preventing business growth. Having realized this, the tourism industry in 2016 implemented a financing program for its stakeholders. A year later, there are numerous reports of businesses being able to stay afloat as a result of the Tourism Enhancement Fund Export-Import Bank Small Medium Tourism Enterprises Loan Facility.
Truth is, right now we are the only candy company in the country. And there was one prior, and we were using that person as our contract packer. But the machines were old, and they functioned like old machines. And the gentleman who owned that factory decided, I'm just not doing this anymore. And it could have been the death of the business. And I heard about the facility, approached Exim Bank, and we decided that this thing had to happen. It couldn't stop. At the time, we had great distribution in Jamaica. We had started doing export markets, and the momentum was necessary. But I needed new machinery. I needed more staff members because there were only 2 of us at the time that were running the business. And I needed a bigger space.
Let's pause the confectioner's story and tell you more later on the sweet deal. Just like Miss Aaron's, there are several businesses in need of capital. The TEF Exim Bank loan is established for such a reason. The loan facility provides well-needed banking support to small and medium-sized tourism enterprises, those companies that play a part in the tourism value chain. Among those eligible are operators involved in spa and wellness, gastronomy, that's restaurants and food-related businesses, small accommodations, shopping and galleries, attractions, knowledge networks, and sports and entertainment, as well as manufacturers and suppliers. The TEF kickstarted the facility with a financial injection of $300 million of a committed $1 billion. Thus, initial funding allowed tourism operators to access up to $25 million each at 4.5% interest rate over 5 years.
The loans are going, accommodation was 21%, transportation 25%, shopping 6%, manufacturing 9%, gastronomy 5%, services 9%, spas and wellness 2%, attractions 17%.
As a result of the program's success, the TEF recently pumped more funding into the loan facility. An allocation of $350 million has been dispersed to the Exim Bank to continue the provision of loans to the operators of small and medium-sized tourism enterprises. The allocation represents the second tranche of the committed amount.
The bank has completed over 28 loan applications totaling $509 million under the SMTE loan program. Applications totaling 408 have been approved, with disbursements totaling $311 million.
Already in processing is an additional 25 qualified expressions of interest, totaling approximately $470 million. These figures give credence to a recent World Bank report, which stated that tourism enterprises contribute up to 60% of total employment and up to 40% of national income in emerging economies. Now it's time to finish unwrapping the sweetest story.
And with the facility, I've been able to move my staff count from 2 to 12. I've been able to move into 4,000 square feet of factory space. I've bought a brand new production line. Every hotel along the whole North Coast carries our products in the gift shop. It's been an easy sell for me to go into any hotel and say, hey, show me where you have the Jamaican candy. And they go, and I'm able to give them the bag of Jamaican candy. And everybody carries all my products. In addition, I am driven to ensure that when you go into a Jamaican restaurant and you buy a plate of curry goat or a plate of oxtail, you get a Jamaican candy with your bill.
Yes.
It has to happen. And so, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Minister. I'm coming from a place where when I first wanted to start this business 2 years ago, I could get, and I say it all the time, I could get an unsecured loan for a carnival costume, and I couldn't get the same to start this business. And I'm happy that the conversation is changing, and I am coming back to you for some more money because we need to satisfy those orders. Thank you, folks.
For more information on the small and medium-sized tourism enterprises loan facility, persons may call the Exim Bank at 630-1400 to make an appointment, or visit its offices at 85 Hope Road, Kingston 6, or click on their website at eximbankja.com.
Did you know regular physical activity controls your weight, reduces your risk of cardiovascular diseases, reduces your risk for type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome, reduces your risk of some cancers, strengthens your bones and muscles, and increases your chance of living longer? Get active, get fit, stay healthy.
Education and learning is not subjected to just the classroom. There's always room for the extension of self and/or resources. In this regard, the government has extended resources to improve the management and use of mines and quarries across the island.
Jamaica is endowed with many large deposits of high-purity limestone that, if developed, can be marketed for the processing of high-value products. The potential for significant earnings from limestone lies in its varied uses, such as in the production of cement, paper, paints, chemicals, animal feed, soap, toothpaste, and for pharmaceuticals. Focus on large rock bodies suitable for producing skid-resistant aggregates for transportation-wearing surfaces is also an area of significant economic interest. Current rejuvenation and expansion in the mining and construction sectors, including the use of sand from hard rocks, are commanding new opportunities.
The Ministry of Transport and Mining is particularly happy that this event is occurring. It therefore means that given the use of blasting and explosives in these two sectors, there will be a serious amount of work for persons who are going to be familiar with and trained in the blasting technologies.
Jamaica was one of 6 countries selected in August 2014 to participate in the ACP EU Development Minerals Program, of which the capacity building training is a significant component. This program is an initiative of the African, Caribbean and Pacific ACP Group of States, financed by the European Union and is being implemented by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, with the Ministry of Transport and Mining's Mines and Geology Division as the national partner. Through a grant of €750,000, the capacity building work has taken off with industry stakeholders, civil society, private sector operators, blasters and public sector representatives being provided with training in best practices in health and safety, environmental stewardship, mine management and gender issues. It's all part of an overall effort to have development of neglected minerals play a more integral role in sustainable development, generating more local jobs and reducing poverty.
The program must be commended because of its focus, one that seeks to raise the profile and improve the management, particularly in what they call development minerals sector. We know that these minerals have played and continue to play a very important role in terms of development, whether roads, highways. We know that we are in a knowledge economy, and knowledge is what basically drives economies. So this training program is very timely, any training program. The importance of improving your own efficiency, your competitiveness cannot be overemphasized. Thank the ACP, EU in particular, funders for your total and committed support to this program.
The training contributes to disseminating innovative know-how and supports the implementation of the Paris Agreement and its commitment to alternative clean technology.
When we are talking about blasting, we know that there are some risks. This learning will be important for influencing changing within the national frameworks. Because of lack of attention to the sector, often the ordinary practices face a number of environmental, social and economic challenges. It is therefore important to build capacity by training and offering support to the main stakeholders in the sector. Like many Jamaicans, we believe that education and skills training are essential tools for transforming lives. This is why we are fully engaged in supporting key initiatives aimed at advancing access to education and building people's capacity to create or find employment opportunities to improve their quality of life.
The training covers theory as well as practical demonstrations of quarry blasting techniques and mining and other quarry management methodologies.
We are trying to let them have an understanding of blasting, quarry design and how to more efficiently use the explosive to get the production that is desired. Basically, we are trying to impart best practice.
We basically mine 5 different raw materials for the cement manufacture process. Limestone, which is 80% of the materials used. Basically, we also drill and blast 80% of that material. So this program is very, very beneficial to us, as I'm expected to be exposed to all the best practices in drilling and blasting. I'll be better able to manage my contractors who are also here.
It will be a boost for the industry, considering we have been having train-the-trainer programs where we train individuals that will go back into the quarries, into the industry to train others. So before long we'll have a well-trained unit.
The ACP EU UNDP Development Minerals Program on Training, a partnership with Mines and Geology Division, Ministry of Transport and Mining, empowering people to achieve sustainable development.
The pack is 6,000.
60,000.
Yeah.
How much I want?
Yeah, man, 2 bays I want.
Yeah, man, the one
$5
that's
grand,
yeah, man. Same. Alright. What one cat? You don't know, I sit downtown the other day there. Oh. All the brethren them man we buy and sell marina. One of them I sell a 6-pack for $1,000 and the next one I sell one for $200.
So where why?
Buy 5 of them for $1,000. Think them can't rob me.
So Uncle Fancy is the same $1,000 you would spend to get the 6. Seriously?
Tell them again now my math brains.
Math count.
Math count.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Education.
Hated by many, loved by few, mathematics. A recent study has disclosed that the lack of interest and low performance is as a result of how teachers respond to students. Let's explore this further.
Create an environment in the classroom that's encouraging, that's positive. If it's always negative, if you're always being scolded or slapped for errors, that's not going to create an atmosphere that makes me want to learn. It's actually going to cause me to become more fearful and to develop a dislike for the subject. So we try to encourage teachers to ensure that the environment is emotionally safe. Nobody laughs at anybody if they make a mistake. In fact, one of the world leading researchers in math education speaks about the power of the error in the math classroom, because that mistake must be analyzed and taken apart, and okay, so why did you do that? And so the conversation must be developed for the student to even begin to look at their error. The teacher now sees the error as an opportunity to understand the thinking of the student. So the power of learning from mistakes is something we talk about and encourage teachers to not see the error as something to punish the student for or to make it a punitive experience, but to use it as a powerful learning experience, which is in truth is just a powerful life principle, because we all make mistakes and we can learn from them. It's what we do with the mistakes that matters.
Informing, educating, entertaining. That's what we do. Keep watching Jamaica Magazine.
Our artifacts are testament to our past, present, and future. If we lose them, we lose our story. The Jamaica National Heritage Trust is determined to ensure that these stories are preserved.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the headquarters house, home of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. We're going to take you through some of the ropes in the methods in conservation, so please come along with us. Thanks for joining us in our conservation lab. We have here working with us Mr. Darrington Ferguson, as well as Mr. Frank Gale, and we'll be looking at some of the methods they will be applying to different material types for the preservation of our material culture of Jamaica. First of all, we have here some cannonballs that are usually found with some extent of corrosion. Mr. Ferguson is actually removing mechanically some of the concretion from a cannonball, and after he has removed that, then we would wire it. This wired metal object we would then install in our electrolytic tank. In the process of electrolysis, what we are actually doing, we are primarily reversing the process of corrosion. Once it has been electrolyzed, it would look something like this. So we would then proceed to brush to remove any loose rust that would be left on it. We would then put the iron object in some pure water, which we call deionized water, and that would be heated to ensure that the metal itself would facilitate the extraction of any impurities that might be left in the body of the iron. After that, we would dry the iron object. Most times we dry it in alcohol, and that would remove the water from the body of the object. And after drying, we would take a substance we call tannic acid, applying several coats, and it would form somewhat a stable surface for the iron object. And then the final stage is waxing to provide a coating or a lacquer on the surface of the iron object. Here we have Mr. Gale. He's actually applying orthophosphoric acid to remove slight rusting or corrosion from the case of a sword. He is actually using what we call a chemical as well as a mechanical means of so doing. We have close to it the extractor system, which is used to remove harmful fumes from the atmosphere in order to make the environment a much healthier one in which and a safer one for us to work. Lead corrodes by forming mainly lead sulfide and lead carbonate. So we would be soaking it first of all in ammonium acetate, and that would basically remove within a few hours the lead carbonate. In order to remove any residue of ammonium acetate that might be left on the lead, we would then rinse it quickly for a short time period. Just rinse it in a bath of a very dilute solution of hydrochloric acid. If there are any corrosion left at that stage, then we would remove that mechanically, either very likely with a glass bristle brush. After that, we do as we would with the iron. Coming over here now, we have copper or copper material. We have been soaking this copper in a substance we prepare in the lab, which we call alkaline Rochelle salt. The alkaline Rochelle salt will remove from it largely what we call bronze disease. So we soak it in the solution. The chemical will dissolve the bronze disease. After that has been dissolved, then we would rinse in, for example, a dilute solution of sulfuric acid to remove any slight impurities or corrosion product that might be left there. After that, we will, as we do with the other metals, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you were well informed by the information we've imparted today, and you're welcome to join us at any time, particularly at our heritage sites. And when you see our heritage sites, you see the artifacts that are there, you will appreciate to a greater extent the effort that has gone into its preservation.
And that's it for Jamaica Magazine today. Do join us again tomorrow for another informative and interesting show. Until then, follow, like, and subscribe to all our social media pages. And if you don't find what you're looking for there, visit our website, jis.gov.jm. I'm Sandria Clark. Thanks for watching and take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.